Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Wednesday, hump day of the week. And most importantly, Tom, at 1 o'clock Eastern today, it is check-in and check-up time. That's right. Check-in and check-up. Don't miss.
That's not where I thought you were going with that.
No, what? It's Cinco de Mayo. Waha!
Come on, calendar guy. I was waiting for the.
I was trying. Yeah, it's one of my I've had some good Cinco de Mayos over the years.
Fair. Okay.
Many
they will be just as good.
Many years ago, I was working at a job with a guy, a graphic designer. We were working very closely on a magazine. It was a new effort for us, and we weren't finding common ground. And it was Cinco de Mayo, and I said, hey, let's go grab a drink. I'll buy you a drink. One drink led to a couple drinks, and we found common ground. And by May 6th, we were rocking and rolling.
Funny how that happens.
But they wouldn't let me expense out the beverages. Yes.
Oh, why?
State job.
Oh yeah. Well, no doubt about that. That's all you had to say.
Yes. So how are you today, Tom?
I'm doing very well, thanks.
Good.
Mine used to be a big party. We had friends that loved Cinco de Mayo, so they would always do a Cinco de Mayo gathering when I was in Binghamton. And sometimes it fell on the Derby, and they were also big horse racing fans, so that was a big deal then. So.
Well, and you're not much of a beverage consumer, so the joys
just every day.
You know what I mean.
Correct.
So what many people find joyful in Cinco de Mayo isn't really of appeal to you.
No, but I like being around people, and I like being at parties. So I'm a social being.
Yeah,
fair
enough.
Distanced being.
Is there another kind these days?
No, I don't know. Oh well, it depends. If you watch the Derby, you'd be like, I guess there's no pandemic or anything. Did you watch that at all?
I did. That's exactly what we were saying. It
was so weird to watch and be like, yeah, there's got to be 100,000 plus people.
No, 51,000, they said. But they were all in a very small area, apparently.
Yeah. I couldn't figure out if there were a lot of people there or they just had a really lot of cutouts that they put in the seats to make it look like there were lots of people there.
With their really big hats.
Correct.
That's my favorite part. The women with the hats that tilt their heads.
Yeah, I don't get it. But okay, that's fine. All right, so let's get on with things and talk about what else. We know that today is Cinco de Mayo and that it is our check-in and check-up. Why don't you share what else is going on in May, Bob?
Oh, boy, we've got a whole roster of fun things. 2 other events that you don't want to miss. Networking events, the Roundup Networking. This is not like your traditional networking where you look at 30 faces on Zoom and you wonder what's going on. And you say your 30 seconds, then you have to sit there and be polite. You're checking your email. This is actually where you're going to discuss with other people relevant issues about what's going on in your life, in your world, and you're going to find common ground. And you're going to be like my friend and I when we had our Cinco de Mayo come together moment. You will actually want to talk to those people. Heck, for the 4 p.m. one, you could even bring a beverage.
Absolutely. Could be a happy hour. There's no doubt.
You know what I discovered today, Tom? I don't need to tell people what time or what date they are because they can look at the screen.
They can read, you mean?
You learn something every day.
And you relearn things. You're like, I think I knew that. Why am I not taking
PowerPoint tip of the day, don't read the slides, right?
Don't read. If you're reading the slides, there's a great tip. If you're doing a presentation and you are reading the slides, you might want to reconsider.
One of our Renegade Success Network members, Peter Davis, reminded me of that about 8 months ago. We were doing something together, and he's like, Yeah, you're reading the slides, dude. Not good.
Yeah, I think I did to you once as well. A long time ago. So.
What happens is you don't know what you're really talking about. You feel pressure to make sure you hit your marks. And next thing you know, you're reading slides.
Well, I think it's an interesting thing about the way people do presentations, right? Is some people would say that the most important points are the things you would put on the slides. So you would want to read them. I think that's sort of the standard out there. I think that what you and I have discovered is that we want people to be focused on us and what we are sharing. And so the slides are sort of.
Wait, I'm sorry. I like focused on us. Not what we're sharing. Just focused on me. I like the focus.
Oh, excuse me. So we like it when everyone is focused on Bob. And me and
there's at least one person watching this, Tom, who's going to be like, wow, he's admitting to something I always knew.
I'm not going down that path. But anyhow, so something to consider before we even get into feeling pressured. I think the thing about it is I think we are worried that we don't have all the content. And so we want to put it on a slide so that someone can so we can make sure we can go back and refer to it, which is fine. I just think that there are some other ways to do it that might be more effective. Anyhow.
Maybe in the morning we should do our tip of the day in addition to today's antidote, just some simple little 10-second tip.
Isn't that what we do at the end? We give them one thing. So we already done our one thing. Is that what you're saying?
That's kind of what I'm saying.
Well, that's a little bit about when we feel pressured, which we talked about yesterday. Today, we are going to talk about when others feel pressured. And, what does that do? And how can we not only deal with them, but engage and connect, maybe help them? Or when can we be, I don't know the right word. We can negatively impact them by increasing that pressure. So do you want to share some thoughts about that, Bob?
Sure. I was talking to someone over the last couple of weeks about something in my personal life, just doing some home improvement stuff. And someone called me and I was going through a really bad day with some issues. And I said, look, I can't talk to you today. And this person said, well, we scheduled a meeting. I'm like, I'm really sorry, but this thing came up. I just don't have the capacity for this. And they're like, well, we scheduled a meeting. That wasn't helping my pressure. Now, we had built up a relationship over the last couple of weeks. I really liked the person. I would have probably done business with the person. But that totally turned me off. Because in that moment when I'm crying, hey, look, I don't have the capability. I don't even have the ability to reschedule right now. We're just going to have to put this off. I know that's not what you want to hear. I totally get it. But I promise you, I still want to work with you. It's like, no, we scheduled this appointment. I need to have a decision. Okay, bye. And I haven't talked to that person again. They've called 5 or 6 times. They've emailed. I hate to say it, but they're dead to me because they weren't hearing what I needed. And, we all go to buy things. And when you're looking for a new car or a used car, your focus is on cars. But when you're not focused on cars, you're not focused on cars. And I think that's something we have to realize. And I could be very focused on cars today from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. But at 8:05, I might get home and there's another crisis or another really important issue.
Sure.
And I think I've had to learn that what's important to me isn't important to my customer. So I'm sitting there going, hey, we've had 5 calls. I've talked to you. I've sent you notes on Facebook. I've liked all your posts on Instagram. I've done all those things. When are you? Hey, I'm here. Bye. Come on. What more do I have to do? And what I've come to realize is that's me thinking about me. And that's me applying pressure because almost all the sales I've had have been no pressure sales. It's just been an alignment of, hey, you have this challenge. I can help you with it. And that's different than, hey, Tom, you got to buy, look, want to buy an iPhone? I got to use an iPhone. You got to buy this iPhone. Come on, Tom, buy it now. You told me you were having trouble with your phone last night. You dialed the wrong number. Hey, this phone will fix that problem. And you're like, I'm not thinking about phones today. And so I think we put pressure on people inadvertently because we feel pressure to achieve something, or we feel pressure. You've helped me through this. How many times have I said, we really need this thing to happen? It's like, yeah, it'll happen when it's supposed to happen. So this is an area that I know both sides of. I think we all do, but I think we often forget how we put pressure on people. And I would say there's a certain amount of pressure that we do want to put on someone.
Sure.
That we want them to understand the issue and the implications. If you don't get a new phone, if your phone's not working and you don't get a new phone, you're not going to be able to make calls when you need to. Right?
Yeah. No, I think that's the challenge, is that there is, at what point is it too much? And how do we understand where they are at so that we don't overwhelm them like the person on the phone did for you? And we still are helping them remember whatever the challenge it was that they were trying to overcome.
Tom, I'm going to interrupt you in the mid-sentence. I know I shouldn't, but I'm going to, because Michael has sent us something that fascinates me. Hey, look what popped up on my watch. Now I feel pressured to listen. Smile. Bummer. It won't let me upload a picture of you guys on my Apple Watch. I just bought an Apple Watch. I'm going to have to see if I can listen to us on my Apple Watch. I didn't know that was possible.
How are you going to listen to us on your watch while you're talking on your computer?
Do you think I listen to myself when I talk? I think I've demonstrated 311 times I don't listen to myself when I speak. While we're going through comments, pressure can be good or bad depending on what's going on at the time. Overpressure is universally bad, but lacking pressure is also universally bad. It's all about balancing. You have to take ownership of where you're at in order to balance the pressure load. I'm going to bet, I don't know who that is for certain, but 99% sure that's Tim.
Probably. Or Peter might be the other one, but
yeah, the other one. What is that?
Well,
it is Tim.
Okay.
It is Tim. I
think
was double check.
I think that's fair. And again, I would go back to pressure not being good or not judging it. It's just pressure. Right. And I think we all can perceive it as whether we feel it's good or bad. And I don't know that that is helpful one way or the other. It's just pressure on someone. And I think, when you're a leader and you're leading a team, is a little different than if you are working with a client, although it's similar, or a potential customer, I should say. How do you understand who are the people that thrive under a little bit of pressure or need a little bit of pressure to be motivated? And who are those that just completely overwhelms, and they are not able to function because they are feeling so much pressure. And I think that's one of the challenges of being a leader, is understanding, your team and who needs what when. And what's hard is you want to treat everyone the same, because that's what everybody says. You have to treat everyone.
Have to be fair. It's got to be equal. Blah blah blah.
And that doesn't always, that's not necessarily how each person in your team is going to thrive. I know with every team I have, I can look back and think of them and feel like, okay, who are the people who are like, they want me reminding them. They want me to be a little more in their face about something that they are expected to do. And then there are others who just feel like if I'm doing that, I'm over their shoulder and they can't function and they're worried and, what is he thinking about? And they get taken off task. And
it's the same with prospective clients too, right?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Some want you to call them every day until they sign.
Right.
And some are like, hey, dude, I totally get what you do. It's going to take a while. Tim's giving us a follow-up comment. You're missing the point, Tom. Overpressure is not optimum in any way, shape, or form. Don't get caught up in pedantics.
Yeah, well, I guess I would just offer that it depends. Like, again, I know people who really want that extra pressure because they feel like that is going to force them to act.
But that's not extra pressure to them.
Correct. Right.
It might feel like overpressure to you. And I think that's part of this game of pressure is someone might feel pressured when you wouldn't feel pressured, or vice versa. And finding that balance is really a key to figuring out. And it changes, like you said, with the team from person to person.
And I think that's why the communication is so important, is to best understand, where is someone feeling? I guess I was going with, maybe I got caught up in the pedantics of good or bad, but I think when you say good or bad, it's based on who's making that decision. And I think for some people, overpressure is what they want. They want to be.
Extra pressure is not overpressure. Overpressure is when the pressure exceeds tolerances.
Okay. And the tolerances change based on the person, right? All of our tolerances are all different.
And I will add, this is good. Never use pressure in sales. If you try to chase the cat, it will run from you. But if you have what the cat wants, it'll come to you every time. There you have it.
Okay. People in chat react a little differently, but that's a fair point. I think it's true. I mean, I think that is the key. We have to understand. Now, a dog may not do that. Your bird might not do that. So I think understanding where is the person at. And I think that's one of the things about thinking about sales differently, is that it's not just the same pitch isn't going to work for everyone. We have to figure out, like, what is this individual client, this individual person's, how do they react to the things that I put in front of them, to the way that I communicate to them, to how many times I communicate to them, because it's not going to be the same. We're all going to look at it differently, and we're all going to thrive or choose to act in different scenarios, which was what makes it challenging sometimes. Because you can't just use the same message with everyone and expect the same results.
I think sometimes it's hard also because we're so busy going through our pitch, making sure we cover all the points, that we don't hear or watch the signals from the person that are saying to us, hey, whoa, you're starting to pressure me. I was on a sales call a couple of years ago, and the person was looking at their watch after about 10 minutes, like, totally in their watch. I had someone else with me, and afterwards they said, hey, what was going on there? And I'm like, I don't know. Did you see them checking their watch? No, I didn't. And they were like, they did it like 20 times. I'm like, no, they didn't. And sure enough, and that person, the feedback that came back later was, you took way too long with your presentation. And it wasn't, it was like 15 minutes. It wasn't like 45 or anything, but to that person, it was too long. They got it. And so by not seeing the signals, not paying attention to the signals, because I was so intent that I'm going to get through the 9 slides, the result was the person was like, this guy doesn't value me. He's in this for himself. He's focused on himself, not on my needs. And I think we fall into that trap very easily when we don't look to the signals that the person gives us. And it's much harder when you're on a Zoom call. Because the person, right now I'm typing on my computer. You have no idea. That's just the reality that we don't have when you're in the room with the person, just like when, you speak, when you're in front of people, when you're speaking, what's going on. If the guy in the back is talking to the guy next to him, if the guy in the front's checking his phone. On Zoom, I have no clue.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot harder. There's no doubt about that.
Well, and on the phone, it can be hard.
Oh, absolutely. So I think phone is hard because you just don't have. I mean, it is better than email or a text message, and it still is not providing you with the same information that you are getting. And I think you see this all the time at networking events. How many times have you looked over in the corner and you're like, oh boy, so and so is just they're giving their whole pitch to whoever that is. And if there's someone that's your friend, you want to go over and be like, hey, Bob.
I don't do that. I don't do that. Don't be assigning me that one.
I was saying, hey, Bob, I'm going to come and rescue you from this.
Oh, okay. All right. I got you. I'm sorry.
That was something we used to have to do. Like I had a boss once who was like, hey, look, this was when I was in the fundraising, there are certain donors, supporters who I know are going to take up all of my time. And I love them. And I need to spend time with other people as well. And so if you see me trapped, I would like you to come over and now become the person who is trapped so that I can move on and do something else. And I think that's the piece. I think that, in that case, my supervisor was feeling pressured that they had to see other people, but didn't know how to get out of the situation. One, because the person was just unloading everything that they had, whether it was just information or a concern or a question. And I needed to find a way to help them get out of that situation.
Mm-hmm. And I think pressure comes in a million forms. And I don't know that we always recognize all the pressure we put on people in the day. I mean, I'm thinking back while we've been talking, I've been going back through yesterday and thinking about the pressure I put on people. Like I was talking to someone about something and I just kind of blurted it out. I'm like, hey, I got something for you to consider. I didn't really give them the opportunity to be like, hey, Bob, wrong day. I got too much going on today. So by dropping that bomb on that person was valuable information, I could have been adding to their pressure. And what I find is if you can find the right time to say to the person, hey, I want to talk to you about something a little more serious than usual. Can we schedule a time, or when would be good for you? That gives them the ability to manage the pressure. Although at times, for me, if you said that to me, Tom, I'd be like, oh my God, what have I done wrong? Jeez. Now I got to wait till 11:30. I did something wrong. I feel so guilty. Tom's going to yell at me. What have I done? Even though I can't imagine you yelling at me.
Yeah, when's the last time I yelled at you?
But I think we put the pressure on ourselves at times because like, well, Tom doesn't usually say we have to have a serious talk. What's going on there? Right? And our customers do it to us sometimes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Bob, we need to schedule a meeting. Oh, boy. Here we go.
Right. We're already assuming what is going to come.
Right. And then I think that also translates to more pressure on the other person. Because now we're going into a discussion or a meeting with that fear, which puts pressure on them. You know, how many times have you been? I've been to meetings where the person's like, whoa, take it easy. What's your problem? I'm like, well, I thought you were going to fire me. Why would I fire you? I'm like, well, you said we had to have a serious meeting. And I'm like, oh, I just thought that meant, and they're like, no.
Well, have you ever had somebody say, come in and close the door?
Oh, yeah.
Talk about putting pressure. You're like, what? Now what's up? Because this is going to be obviously a serious conversation. And I wonder, you know, and of course, through your head, you're like rolling through, like, what are all the things that this could be about?
Yep.
It's so funny that I don't think as a leader, we ever think about that as a, you know, a trigger in some regards for the person to be on edge, definitely to feel more pressure, to be worried. And I think those are simple little words that probably the person says as just, you know, could be just like, hey, you know, this is a conversation we just need to have between us. There's a lot going on out there. If you could just close the door. Well, the person who is receiving that information is likely not hearing it that way.
No, yes. So, Tom, it's that point in the day that I dream of, I look forward to. Sometimes I wake up early in the morning just hoping to get some incredible insight and knowing that I have to wait till about 8:20, 8:25 Eastern time each day. So what's your one thing, that thing that's going to change our lives? It's going to give us something to look at with respect to this pressure on other people.
Yeah, you know, it's hard. I think when others feel pressure.
I got up early for it's hard? Come on.
No, well, it can't always be easy. I mean, it's, you know, it's 311 days of coming up with one thing. A lot.
Thank God we didn't come up with today's antidotes.
Correct. No, I think that it's, you know, it's how do we understand people better? And I think that's through communication, because it's hard to know if somebody's feeling pressure, right? Some people would show it, others won't. And it's hard for us to understand unless we do a better job of communicating. You know, again, I could be standing at a networking event, just going through my pitch and not realize how much pressure that makes the person feel. And so, you know, rather than doing that, how do I just have a conversation with them? So I better understand where are they at? What are they looking for? Is this the appropriate time to share with them whatever it is I have to share with them? And how do I share it so that it doesn't add to pressure they may already be feeling? I mean, I think that it's a challenge. Sorry, it's hard was not a great opening sentence.
No. Oh, wow. Tom going edgy. Tim said, I'm trying to imagine what it would take for Tom to yell at someone. Yes, I would like to see that myself. Hopefully it's not at me.
I sort of yelled at a parent about a week and a half ago on the sidelines.
Oh, I got to come to a game.
They were mocking the other team. And I said, yeah, we're not having that. What age group were they? They were probably like 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds. I'm going
to give you my one thing, Tom, and Michael just gave it. And that's what I was thinking. You said it's hard sometimes to know when people are feeling pressure. I would disagree. I think the clues are all there. We are just so wrapped up in who and what what our thing is that we're not looking for them. And I think Michael's on the right track here. I think facial expressions really do give us more indication than we realize. I can tell from doing this program 311 times, I can tell when you're like, shut up, Bob, it's my turn to talk. Oh my God, where are you going, Bob? What have you done? You give off those facial expressions, and I do it too. We're human beings. It's a given. But I think
now that we have to wear masks.
I think that makes it harder. Absolutely. Although they say the eyes are the keys to your soul. Yeah. And someone's eyes can really make a difference, especially if they roll them at you.
Yeah, I haven't found that to be the case. In all the interactions of people with masks, I think it's hard to read people's eyes. It's just not the same as watching their mouth, watching, their, smile or frown or.
I would agree with you. Although I think you can still see when they're smiling if you look real hard.
I struggled with that.
And I'm flashing back to some people that did a video on this about a year ago.
Well, I think
everything comes full circle somehow.
Yes, indeed, it does. All right. Well, I like that. I do think facial expressions, and especially to me, that's a lot about communication, right?
Yep.
Is that we can communicate in a lot of ways, not just by speaking. And I think sometimes, we don't pay attention to those other signals that we are getting. What are their shoulders doing? Are they rolling their eyes? Are they looking away? Looking down, all those things that can indicate that there might be something else going on that we might want to be aware of. So I think that's a great comment.
Thank you, Michael, for your comments, and thank you, Tim, for your comments today. They really improved the discussion. Appreciate it greatly.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much for being with us today, for sharing your thoughts and ideas. It's always good to get those comments, especially when Tim and I go back and forth a little bit. I think it's always a little fun for me. If you would like to learn more about have these type of conversations, please join us in the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. You just go to Facebook, search for Ring of Renegades, and you can become a part of our growing community where conversations are happening like this all the time amongst renegades who are trying to move forward and find their own unique pathway to success. All you have to do is ask to join. Tell us why you're a renegade, and you can be a part of that group. So now as we head out, I'm going to
Can I stop you for 1 second, Tom? I made a mistake. I was able to check this. The speaker of this about the cats never use pressure in sales if you chase the cat. That was Troy. Troy Tolley, not Tim. And I apologize to that. My screen and I were not getting along real well, but now we're back together. So I apologize, Troy. Thank you also for your comment.
Were you feeling pressure?
No, I want to make sure. I wanted to make sure we recognize the right people. If you're willing to sit there on your phone or your computer, listen to what we're doing, watch what we're doing, and then write a comment. To me, that's really a big step for someone to take, and I recognize and honor that.
Absolutely. All right, as we head out today, I'm going to throw one on you, Bob. So you got to come up with this. If you are a leader, or you are an entrepreneur or trying to decide where you are in that entrepreneurial or leader journey, we actually have an assessment that you can participate in. And Bob, do you want to tell them all about that assessment?
I would love to tell you. So Tom and I ended up in entrepreneurship for a variety of reasons. And one of the things we've talked about many times is, what does it take to be an entrepreneur? And how can someone figure out where they are on that journey? And we've worked at this for months, debated this, discussed this, talked to people, and finally put together an assessment that you can take. And it's going to tell you where you have some strengths. and where you might want to look to make some improvements. It's 10 questions. It takes you, if it takes you 5 minutes, you're taking way longer than I would expect. I did it in about 90 seconds, and someone else told me it was so easy and so quick, and it was fun. So do you have the link? Can you show them?
We'll put it inside. We'll put it in the comments below.
Okay, we have to do it before we end because otherwise it won't show up. So I got to do that right now.
All right, why don't you do that? You do it right now and I'll finish it up. Here's the other thing that we are going to do is that if you enter during May, if you participate in the assessment, you will be entered into a weekly drawing for a chance to win this book. So you can really understand the Renegade Way. So everyone who participates in the assessment will get a chance to be in a drawing for a free copy of Bob's book that will hopefully help you find and travel along your Renegade Way.
Got to be an autograph copy, right, Tom?
If you want an autograph, yes.
I would love to. You know me. Hey, any chance to...
Because it is about you.
I'm going to regret saying that.
Nah. So anyway, we hope that you will participate. If you are inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group already, the link is there. And you can participate, at least for the one the entrepreneur is there. The leader one will go up a little bit later today. You will be able to go to our website, renegadesuccessnetwork.com, and you can participate as well. And Bob will have the link up here shortly. And if not,
there it is.
You know how to message us. There we go.
Just did it.
All right. So we look forward to your participation in that and your comments. And with that, I hope that you have a great rest of the day. And we will see you inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, or we'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time for our next edition of Today's Antidote. Have a great day, everyone.